Howdy folks, and welcome to Southern California. This is the brand new Nissan Z Heritage Edition. Now, you've seen videos with the Heritage Edition before, but this one's unique because it is, well, it has a unique color to it. That's right, this is a special color which we're gonna get to in a second. And before I get going, normally at the end of these review videos, that's when I give you the price, I drop it on your lap. Not gonna do that today, because I want you to think about this throughout the video. This is basically a $60,000 car, 6-0. Very expensive, but in my mind, this is the best Nissan Z you can buy. Granted, you can get one for about $45,000, $46,000, if you can find one. Very few dealerships are even carrying these things right now. But if you go and buy one of these cars, it is more rewarding, more fun to look at, and more fun to be with than just about any other Nissan Z I've driven, full stop. That's right. Even though I drove the Nismo version of this vehicle, which was an amazing handling vehicle, although it only came with a 9-speed automatic transmission, but I hear that they're going to add a manual soon. This is better. Why? Because in LA traffic and driving it every day, this is far more comfortable, far more usable, and I think it looks like $1 million. I'm sorry, but this is a really cool looking car. So we're gonna get to the brass tacks. I'm gonna take you around the coast a little bit in this, and we're gonna talk about some of its cool design cues, and of course, its mighty twin turbocharged V6. This is known as Midnight Purple. I know it looks green. I thought so too. And in different colors with different backgrounds, it looks like, well, frankly, different colors. So in my driveway, it looks purple. But out here, there's a lot of green that's coming out in the sunlight. And that's really cool. This is by far one of my favorite colors. And it really does give this car a zest. But there's something else, and that's these 19-inch raised wheels. This bronze color, normally I'm not a big fan of bronze. Yeah, they look pretty good on certain Subarus. But for the most part, it's just a personal thing, right? But I think these look spectacular. Oh, 275-inch fat tires in the back, which is another really, really positive thing, and this car needs it. Trust me on that. But then you have this here, and this explains everything that's going on. A, it matches the wheels, and B, it says Heritage Edition. And I finally figured out why this is a big deal, more than just you're getting a car that not many are being built and it's pricey. If you're a Nissan fan, this is a really big deal. Recently, I was at the JCCS, that's the Japanese Classic Car Show. It's in Long Beach. It's annual, it's huge. It's one of the bigger Japanese car meets out there. Awesome show. And I remember talking to somebody who was a 240Z restorer extraordinaire. He has restored 240s, 260s, 280s ever since the late 70s. He's been doing this. And he was asking me what I thought about the Nismo, and I told him. And then he said, so when are you going to drive the Heritage? And I was looking at him kind of weird, like, who cares? And he said, trust me, you're going to love it. Limited slip rear diff. Get the one with the 6-speed manual, which this has, and you will be so much happier. And I thought, all right, he's a Nissan Z fan. Yeah, all right, fine. He's absolutely right. Absolutely right. The character of this car is so much better than the other Nissan Zs I've driven, with the exception of the entry-level Z, which is nearly impossible to find. But does it mean that you're spending, say, about $10,000, $12,000 more for a paint job and wheels and a limited slip diff? Yeah. But it is something that's pretty rare. One of the things I really like is the way that this plastic pops in over here, just peeks out a little bit. And I love twin turbo. That is so retro cool. Guys like Roma would really appreciate that, because back in the day, we loved extra stickers and extra gaudy stuff that was hanging off our cars just to tell the world twin turbo, which, by the way, this has, which is cool. And also having it match the wheel color and also the badge that says Heritage, that's super cool as well. And also, just coming back up over here, this Heritage Edition This badge, this is old school as well. I forgot to mention that. Once again, if you love Nissan Zs, and especially older ones, this is what makes it cool. All right, so shall we add a little bit of thrust? Do you see the way it'll drop off just a little bit, then it picks up? It does it in such a way that you can kind of feel a little bit of what's going on with the delay in the turbo. And it's very easy to modulate. I can, off a start, easily lift up my RPMs to say around 3,000, 3,500 RPM. Then I know that the turbos are spooled up and then no problem taking off. I don't have to have my foot slammed into it or anything like that. Just that is enough to where I can rock it off. And this thing becomes remarkably fast off the line. But more important than its off-the-line speed, and look, we all know this is a really quick car. It's 400 horsepower, right? It's the fact that it has a very balanced chassis. It's a little tail-happy, which I like, but it's so easy to control. It's very easy to defeat traction control if you want to, if you really want that tail to hang out. I don't recommend doing that unless you really know what you're doing. It's not like the old school 911, so it would really snap on you, right? It is a lot more controllable, and there's a lot more going on through the steering than a lot of modern cars as well. And I like that. I like being able to tell what the car is doing based on tactile feel. Interesting. There's no strut holding this up. I'm okay with that. $60,000 car, you shouldn't have a strut. Okay, so what are we looking at here? That, my friends, is a 400 horsepower twin turbocharged V6 that makes 350 foot-pounds of torque. It's hooked up to a 6-speed manual transmission, thank God. And it's a pretty good one too. Not the best in the industry, but it's still, and we'll talk about it as I shift through it and show you guys, but it's a good manual transmission. Now, the only real penalty is fuel mileage. It's not horrible, but it's about 20 city and 24 highway. Actually, I think it's 18 city and 24 highway with the manual. The automatic is way better. That 9-speed gets much higher MPG, but it's an automatic transmission. The bottom line with this powertrain is that because it's a twin turbocharged V6, there is a little tiny bit of lag, but it's not bad at all. Compared to other twin turbocharged powertrains that I've driven, this one doesn't have a hole in the floor where you put your foot down and you wait. All right, so remember I was telling you about twin turbos written everywhere? It's also on this spoiler here, which is carbon fiber. Kind of wish it wasn't, but still, it looks okay, especially at a distance. Twin turbo, I love it. Just for a car like this, that's awesome. By the way, this is Nissan's new design direction in terms of taillight design. You're going to see this in more and more vehicles in the future. And yeah, it's kind of got the whole Nissan thing going on with it, but that's a whole different video to talk about. But I still think it looks pretty cool. All right, something I noticed about the trunk, it's kind of weird. As far as I can tell, on the key fob, there is no trunk release. And this key fob has been around with Nissan for 1,000,000 years. I mean, seriously, it's, at least make something that looks kind of unique, right? I popped the gas cap as well. The thing is that you can only pop the trunk, as far as I can tell, from inside the car. A pain in the neck. Once you get it open, though, it's actually fairly commodious. 6.9 cubic feet of cargo space. There is enough space here for a golf bag. They specifically scalloped this section here so you can get one of the smaller golf bags in there, and I believe you could probably get one up there as well. It also holds baseball bats. I know that because I went with a friend to play some baseball with one of these, not a Heritage, but another regular one, and it fit without a problem. I wanted to point out something that starts with the back wheel, and it's only because there's a handful of cars that do this. Let me explain. See where the location of that rear wheel is? All right, now look at the location of where you're sitting. This is where the seat is. Your butt is basically here, right? So look how close you are to that rear wheel, and then look at the distance between the rear wheel and the front wheel. This is a proper sports car design. Front engine, rear drive, long hood. Let's talk about controls, right? And gauges, because the gauges are awesome. Starting from this screen here. All right, now I don't like digital screens very much. Just don't for driving, especially sports cars. But this one does the job. And not only does it do the job, it does it well. And that's because this screen, and there's 3 options, gives you boost over here, which by the way is redundant, and I'll show you why later. Very big tach. It has engine oil temp, water temp, engine oil pressure, and diff oil temperature. That is very cool. You're not going to find that on very many cars. Let's move over to these gauges here because I love them. Yes, real authentic gauges. You have your boost pressure. You actually have your turbo speed, and then you have voltage. I like all 3 of these. I'm thrilled that they're there. I wish all cars had this. Some cars do have a mixture of things like this. If you watch, yeah, and that corresponds to what I'm seeing here, especially with boost. They seem to be pretty much dead on, so I'm thrilled about that. Do I wish that gauges like this, basically analog gauges, were up here in front of me? Yes, of course. But under the circumstances, I'll take what I can get. And I think that this setup is really good. It's simple. And using it is simple too. As a matter of fact, using the car is simple. Now, okay, this is a 9-inch screen. Even though it looks bigger, this is a little trick that Nissan does with this little side thing here. It's just 9-inch. I think that's more than adequate with a car that's this small, because it is very small on the inside. Physical controls for the heating and air conditioning system. I like having that as well. USB-C and USB-A ports. Great to have. This is something though that's a little curious. All right. So this is a great place for a cell phone, but it's not wireless. I think it should be standard wireless. I mean, you can get that in a $20,000 car. Seat comfort is better than Toyota. And the steering feel in this car is probably the top 5% of the class. It's so good. Now, the question about this car in terms of its performance, and kind of where I'm going to end this little chat about this car's overall ability, is how maneuverable is it? Oh yeah, very. And even if you're not trying to whip the tail out, which is very easy to do, turns on a dime. Sounds great, handles well. Okay, I'm in a bad spot to demonstrate that its suspension is well tuned because this is all road work, but I honestly, it's not a bad suspension setup for a car like this. But overall stability is really good. Drivability is really good. There's really only a few issues with this car. Rear visibility isn't bad for a car like this, but over the shoulder visibility for some might be a bit of an issue. There are no sunroofs or convertibles available for this car. Some people complain about that. Personally speaking, if you're going to get a full-on sports car, I don't know. I think a sunroof is sort of unnecessary. That's kind of a fun GT car, which this can kind of pretend to be, by the way. But at the end of the day, this is specifically made. Oh, let's test those brakes, shall we? And yep, no issues there either. Yeah, at the end of the day, it's a lot of fun. This car is a lot of rock and roll, and it's got a lot of historical gravitas. It's a funny thing. The more I drive this Nissan Z, the more I like it. It is the best Z I've driven as a whole package. Not just as a track car, not just as a driver, but as an all-around car. I've driven it hundreds of miles, and I've loved every moment of it, even in traffic, even though it's a manual transmission in LA. It's great. Could it be improved? Yes. It could be more inexpensive. I would like that. I think you would too. $60,000. I mean, you can get a hell of a good Mustang for that. You can get a GT with a lot of goodies for that. You're almost in Corvette territory in some cases. There are a lot of other high-end cars that it competes against with that price. So a heritage model is probably best for somebody who really is a Nissan Z fan, or perhaps somebody who already owns an old 240 or 260 and they want to complement it with a modern car. That might be someone who would be interested in as well. Me, I freaking love the color. I've gotten more compliments on this color than almost any other car I've driven in terms of their color. People are asking if it's a wrap. It's not. This is the paint. So that's pretty cool as well. It has presence. It's fun. It sounds pretty good from the inside at least. And other than the fact that it's a little cramped for a big fat guy like me, it's an awful lot of fun to drive on a daily basis. So I give it kudos. I just wish I could afford one. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for joining me.